Hi guys, welcome back to my IGTV. Today I'm going to be doing an IGTV about mindfulness. I talked about mindfulness in my last video, and I talked about how I use mindfulness and meditation to get centered, to reconnect with source, to replenish my energy, um, and to refuel my spirits. And I had a couple of people ask about what mindfulness is. And so today I'm going to share with you my experience with mindfulness and meditation, and give you a little bit of backstory, tell you what mindfulness is, what it does, and how it can be helpful for you. And so the backstory with mindfulness is I had been hearing about mindfulness and meditation for a while now. Um, Bits and pieces here and there, books I would read, articles I would read, different podcasts I would listen to. And I was always very curious about it. And when I was working at a behavioral health hospital as a clinical therapist, one of the therapy modalities that we used was called dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT. That was created by Marsha Linehan. That was one of the pillars of the therapy was mindfulness. And so I was working with clients, with individuals, with families, with couples. I was working with adults, children, teenagers. And therapy is, I'm not going to go into everything that therapy is, but one of the main reasons for therapy is usually you are having or experiencing some kind of mental health issue within your life, or some sort of dysfunction within your life, or you are noticing that there's a whole gamut of things that you're experiencing. It could be depression, it could be relationships that have been broken. There's different reasons people have therapy. And so, one of the main things of therapy is getting to the root cause of your issues, not only to trace back why you're having them, but to understand why it keeps happening and what you can do uh, to take care of the root cause so that you don't have that issue continuing in your life. And so, a lot of what they teach in therapy is about coping skills. And so, one of the coping skills, because of the dialectical behavior therapy, one of the main coping skills is mindfulness. And so, that really piqued my curiosity because I'm working with these families, I'm working with these individuals, with these children, with these adults, with teenagers, and I am touting the benefits of mindfulness and why they should practice mindfulness. But I wasn't practicing myself, not on a regular basis. And so I felt incongruent within myself because I'm over here telling them why they should do it, all the benefits, the reasons that it is helpful for them and beneficial to whatever issues they're experiencing, to their relationships. And I wasn't practicing it myself. And so I decided that I wanted to be a practicer of mindfulness. I wanted to be someone that was not just talking about mindfulness, but was actually being mindful. And in January 2018, I used the fresh year as the start. I committed to being a practicer of mindfulness. And so ever since January 2018, I started meditating every single day. And so I still meditate every single day. Um, it's part of my practice now, it's part of my routine. And I would say I am a much more mindful person. I would never want to call myself an expert because I feel like I'm always learning. But I just wanted to share some of the things that I've experienced and I've learned by being a daily meditator and being a daily practicer of mindfulness. And so, in my understanding, what mindfulness is, I would say it has two components to it. It has way more components, but I'm going to talk about two today. I have my notes here because I wanted to make sure that I covered the topics and um, I covered what I really wanted to share with you. And so, one of the main components of mindfulness is non judgmental noticing. And so, what that looks like is you are just observing and noticing. You are not labeling or judging whatever is happening, either your thoughts or your feelings. You're not saying whether they are good or bad or right or wrong. You're not trying to rid yourself of those thoughts or rid yourself of those feelings. You're just noticing. So, what that looks like is when you are meditating or you're practicing mindfulness, instead of you trying to rid your mind of not having any thoughts, because our brain is doing what our brain is meant to do. It's meant to think. Um, and so you're not trying to rid yourself of thoughts because that creates resistance. And mindfulness is about allowance. So you're just noticing. I notice I'm having these thoughts, or I notice I'm feeling these feelings. Um, and you're not saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have those thoughts. Oh, why are you thinking this way?" And you're not saying things to yourself like, "Why are you having those feelings? Why are you thinking this way?" My coloring is going off because the sun is changing. But you're just sitting as an observer, as a noticer of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And then another component of mindfulness is being in the present moment. So being in the here and now, paying attention on purpose to what is happening as it is happening. And what that looks like is, say you're washing dishes, or you're cooking, or you're visiting with your friend, or you're drinking coffee. That is all you are doing. You are present in the moment with what you are doing. You're not in last week and what happened then and the conversations that you had and something you forgot to do from yesterday. And you're not in the future. You're not thinking about the bills you have to pay or the appointments you have to make or the um, tasks you have to get done. You're just in the present moment and you're just noticing what you're doing as you're doing it. And so you're not trying to escape or avoid whatever you are doing. You're just there in the present moment, paying attention on purpose. And if it's hard to think about those things, think about when you had a really great conversation with someone and how you were just zoned in, you were just paying attention, you were in that conversation. You weren't just waiting for your turn to respond or waiting for your chance to speak. You were just there, present, paying attention. And so those two components, the non-judgmental noticing and the paying attention on purpose, those are the main components of mindfulness. And so how mindfulness can be used as a tool is when you are paying attention on purpose and being present, and when you are not judging your thoughts or your feelings and you're just noticing them, it creates space. And so you're creating space between what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and whether you act or react on those thoughts and those feelings. And so when I was working in the hospital, back to um, when I was a clinical therapist, you want to create as much space as you can between what you're thinking and feeling and your reaction. And mindfulness helps you do that because it just creates space and it takes away the shame and it takes away the guilt of the thoughts that you may be thinking, of the feelings that you may be feeling. And it just creates this space of allowance that you're just paying attention, you're just noticing. And so, how that looks is when a thought comes through, which we have, I think they said 60,000 thoughts per second. I could have um, gotten that number wrong, but we have a lot of thoughts coming to us all the time. And so what it looks like is you just are noticing to yourself. You say, "Oh, I'm noticing that I keep thinking about something that happened last week." Or I notice that I keep having the thought that I need to go take care of this appointment. Or I notice that every time I talk to so and so, I feel sad, or I feel angry, or I feel triggered, or I feel hurt. And in that space, that's where the magic happens, because it's in that space that you can dive deeper, you can investigate, you can ask questions, you can say, why do I keep thinking about this? Why is this bothering me? What's going on? What's underneath that? And really get to the root cause of what's underneath it, in hopes that once you get to the root cause, you can do something about it. Meaning that if you keep having, or if you keep being triggered every time you're around a certain person, when you're diving deeper and you're investigating and you're asking yourself questions, you might realize, oh, every time I'm around that person, I'm triggered because I really want that person to like me. Or I really feel like whenever I talk to this person, that they're not hearing me or they're not seeing me. Um, and so you can start asking yourself questions, and you can start saying, is that what's really going on? Um, and a lot of the times, what happens is the reaction you were going to have, you no longer are going to have that reaction anymore, because you've gotten to the bottom of what's going on, the underlying belief or the root cause of what's really going on. And so you've just given yourself a gift, because you have just allowed yourself to have the space to explore the thoughts, to explore the feelings, and to really um, hold space for yourself and take care of those thoughts and take care of those feelings. Now, another thing is you also get to a place where you can separate the identity that you are not your thoughts and you are not your feelings. You are somebody that is experiencing the thought and experiencing the feeling. And so, what that means is the same way you can experience the thought and you can experience the feeling, you can change the thought and you can change the feeling. And so, that space again, that space is magic, because it's in that space that you can decide, well, I don't like that. Or, no, that doesn't feel right. Or, that thought isn't serving me. Feeling this way, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And so that's what mindfulness can do for you. It builds your awareness, it creates more space um, for you to connect back to your thoughts, connect back to yourself, connect back to your feelings. Uh, and just really build your awareness. Another thing that it does is it increases your compassion, not only for other people, because as you're doing this regularly, as you're building your mindfulness muscle, what happens is you can then go really quickly from being triggered or being offended to somebody that can understand why somebody else is doing what they're doing, or to most importantly understand yourself about why you're thinking this way, why you're feeling this way, why you're doing what you're doing. And that is, again, that is magic, to be able to increase your awareness, increase your compassion, not just for other people but for yourself. um, that really is a gift that you're giving to yourself. Let's see. Other things I wanted to say about being mindful. You can be mindful anywhere at any time. Anytime you drop into being, or anytime you drop into paying attention to what you're doing as you're doing it, anytime you drop into paying attention to your thoughts and paying attention to your feelings and being present in the moment, you are being mindful. And so you can be mindful anywhere at any time. It doesn't take you anything to be mindful. There's no special thing you need to do. And so that's what I wanted to talk about with meditation. Um, Meditation is different in the sense where meditation is more of a practice. It can help you get centered, it can help you create space, it can help you connect to source. Um, but meditation, the difference between mindfulness and meditation, and this is just what I'm observing. Other people might say different things, but I've observed within myself that meditation is not always about being present, because although you're present and you're practicing meditation, sometimes you have guided meditation, where they're telling you to visualize you're on a mountain or visualize yourself having these feelings, or it's more of a practice. It can help you be mindful. It totally helps you being centered, and it can help you create space. But I think the piece with mindfulness is really about presence, and it's really about not judging yourself, not judging other people, not judging your thoughts, not judging your um, feelings. And again, it's really about paying attention and being present, um, and being in the here and now. I'm just re-looking over my, I feel like I've said so much, but I'm just re-looking to make sure that I didn't forget anything that I wanted to say. Um, let's see. Yeah. So that pretty much sums up my experience with mindfulness. Um, I will give you my personal experience. Being a daily practicer of mindfulness, meditating daily, it doesn't mean that I no longer have feelings. It doesn't mean that I no longer get angry or sad or upset. It doesn't mean that I no longer react on those thoughts or those feelings. It just means that I have more awareness. I have more compassion. Um, I grew up in a very chaotic household. There was always something happening, there was always drama, there was always crisis. And so, even before that, I grew up being a very observant, very thoughtful, very um, curious person. I would always, you know, want to understand why this is happening, why people do what they do. People have always fascinated me. Um, but that, coupled with my childhood experience of being in constant chaos, being in constant crisis, just having crazy drama happening all the time. I ended up being a really judgmental person. And that comes from me needing security and needing safety. And so I had to really judge and sum up situations really quickly, situations and people, because I had to um, really decide or be able to assess whether a situation or a person was safe or unsafe. And that really was how I looked at it. Is this person safe? Can I allow this person in? Can I trust this person? Or is this person unsafe? And just like with situations, I had to quickly assess, is this situation unsafe? Do I need to um, be able to get out of here quickly? Do I need to be able to, it's the fight or flight response. Um, do I need to be able to know certain things about this situation? And so mindfulness has really helped me with that non judgmental piece. It's helped me to create more space and more openness for myself. as well as for other people, because how I was judging situations and people, I was judging even my I was judging myself even harsher than that. And so I really feel so much gratitude to mindfulness. And again, I am in no ways an expert. I am in no ways, I like to think of myself as a beginner, as somebody that's still learning. Um, my journey is 2 years now, 2 years in, and I still am learning. And not all meditations, that I use or practice to be more mindful, not all meditations are created equal for me. There's some meditations that after meditating, I feel bliss, I feel happy. I just feel like, whew, wow, that was a release. I feel centered, I feel grounded. And there's some meditations where I still come out of it and I'm like, ah, I forgot to do blah, blah, blah. Because I couldn't get myself to stop thinking about whatever it was that I was thinking about during meditation. Um, but it has helped in so many ways. And that's why I continue to practice mindfulness. I continue to practice meditation because the benefits just have been amazing. Um, Not only for myself, but even for the practice that I do with my clients, it's made me be able to be more aware of my ego and check my ego when um, I am wanting to be right or wanting to be seen or wanting to be uh, heard or wanting to feel enough or wanting to feel worthy, and to be able to keep that in check. And not in a negative way, but to just be more observant and non-judgmental about when those things are happening, and to be able to say, "Ooh, okay, that's going on. Okay, I need to give myself space. I need to journal. I need to heal. I need to um, get centered. I need to go inside. I need to work on my inner work, work on my inner child work on my inner healing." Um, but I love mindfulness. You can be mindful anywhere, and I no longer have the thinking that you have to do a meditation for an hour or all day or for 20 minutes. If that's what you choose to do at your practice, that's amazing. But can you be mindful for 1 minute? Can you be mindful for 2 minutes? Can you be mindful for 5 minutes? Can you be mindful for 10 minutes? And it's about growing that muscle, and it's about getting better and better as you're doing it. Again, anything that I say, if it is helpful if it is helpful for you, that is always my goal. If you ever have any questions, you can DM me, you can comment down below. I'm also going to be posting this to my YouTube channel, so I'm killing two birds with one stone. But yeah, ask questions, and don't be afraid to get curious about what it is. Don't be afraid to um, challenge those beliefs or thoughts that you have about it. So if you think you need to be a monk to be mindful, or you need to be um, a spiritual teacher to be mindful, anybody can be mindful. If you think you need to be mindful all day or for hours, or can you just start with 1 minute and build upon that? So don't get caught up in all of that. Just follow your curiosity. Um, yeah, so if you have any questions, you're welcome to, again, contact me, and I would love to talk more about this with you. And thank you for watching my IGTV. My remote didn't work.